become that secure space. You become that secure space where the child feels I can go back to my mom, I can go back to my papa, and tell them about this. It could be a failure, it could be the child is being bullied at the play area or school, whatever it is. The child has somebody to talk to, right? And then you can help the child cope up with that situation, cope up with that experience. I would also like to talk about how as parents we are supposed to help them with coping skills. Nobody talks about that, unfortunately, in our country. But um, I feel as a parent that I need to teach my daughter how to meditate. I need to teach my daughter the technique of calm breathing. That's really, really important. When all these gurus are telling you to meditate and you are, finding it difficult because you have not been trained like that. You have not been, doing this from, childhood. So if you teach your child at this tender age that meditation is important, you should, practice calm breathing every now and then when you're not able to control your emotions or there are any negative emotions. It will help your child, not now in school or in play area or, but for long life. Everything that the child will do in coming years will be helped through meditation. So, and there are things that we can do. For example, a lot of times I have seen, and even I used to do that, we very quickly look at the negative things that the children do. We very quickly pinpoint कि तुम ऐसे गलत कर रहे हो, तुम यहाँ मत बैठो, तुम ये उस तरह से करो and all of that. But how many times do we, pinpoint their good things? How many times do we, appreciate and praise their good things? Oh, wow, you sat here. Oh, wow, you're sitting properly. Oh, wow, you're not doing it the other way. Let's do that. Let's pinpoint their good things, right? So if the child is getting up on time, let's appreciate that, right? Kyo tum khud se uth gaye? Wow, right? So that would bring in confidence in that child. That will bring in, she or he will be motivated to do that again. So instead of focusing on negative things that the child might do, we need to help that too. But let's also, appreciate the positive things so that positive things are repeated by the child to listen to your compliment that my mama will be happy, my papa will be happy if, I do this, if I get up on time, or if, I eat my lunch, if I finish my tiffin, whatever, small things, very, very small thing, everyday things. And that's how you bond with your kid. That will also, boost their self-esteem. They know that there is somebody, my mom or my dad or all other family members who will appreciate me for this, that I was on time, or I played well in class, or I performed, or whatever, small things. This becomes very important for the child. It might seem to us कि ये छोटी सी बात है, ये छोटी सी बात है for us, but for the child it is not छोटी सी बात. It is everything for that child, right? The child was able to get up on time and be ready for school on time is a big thing. That's one achievement in a day. That's a milestone for him or her. So let's appreciate that. We forget to do that. And all of this will help you bond so much better. And also talking about bonding with the kids, uh, it's not just about spending time with the kid. It's about spending quality time with the kid. You sitting there with your phone and the child is coloring, or the child is drawing, or the child is building blocks. You are an absent parent. You are not involved. You are not giving time to the kid. And this absent parenting is a issue in today's lifestyle. The handheld device that we have, we keep on just scrolling mindlessly over it, and we don't even get to we're not even conscious of our act at that point of time. And it is only when the child comes and tells you that, आप तो phone पे लगे हो, right? मेरा building बन गया, मेरा drawing हो गया, मेरा coloring हो गया. Don't be that absent parent when you read on blogs or people telling you that you are supposed to bond with your child, you're supposed to spend time with the child. That means that you are supposed to engage with the child. You're supposed to involve yourself in whatever the child is doing. So if the child is building blocks, let's build blocks. If he or she is coloring, let's color with them. My daughter, she feels extremely happy if I am drawing on the next page, right? So she will open up the book. One page is mama yours, one is mine. So we spend time together like that, right? She will look at what colors I'm choosing, right? And she will talk about it. Why are you choosing this one? Why are you choosing that one? So that's how you bond with your child. Communication is very, very important. Your child has to feel that this is my special person. This is the person that I can come and speak to. And I will also talk about maintaining a routine, right? So when I say that you're supposed to spend time, your child should know that this day, this time is me and mama time, me and papa time, me and daddy time, right? Whatever. So you decide on Saturday afternoon, we are going to spend time, find new ways to spend time, right? It could be every Saturday you are, maybe going to a farm. Every Saturday you are coloring. Every Saturday you are gardening. Every Saturday you are just running and jumping together, whatever. But that one specific routine where the child looks up to, that this is the time when I can, spend with my parent, or, talk to my parent, or we will be, spending time together. She should look forward to it. And that will help you. And you can, instead of asking direct questions, you will see that the child himself or herself is opening up to you. Randomly I'm coloring with my daughter, and my daughter is like, आपको पता है कल स्कूल में ऐसा ऐसा हुआ था. So I didn't ask her, how was your, school? How was your day? But she's telling me because we were sitting together coloring, and, she wanted to talk. So bring that thing. Make communication your priority, so that the child's priority is also communication. And when I say communication, I mean that children require explanations. They require choices, right? You cannot have, a monologue. You cannot have a close-ended communication. You have to, keep your communication very, very open. You have to make suggestions. ऐसा नहीं ऐसा कर लो, ऐसा नहीं वैसा कर लो. And, you have to offer them certain choices and listen to them. Listening is very, very important. Most important task in communication is listen to your child, right? And you can mold the situation according to what the child is feeling. Appreciate that this person is talking to you, and acknowledge their feelings. Only then the bond will be created. Only then the bond will be built. Also, a lot of times, we ourselves do not have control over our emotions. We also feel negative at times because of maybe workplace or family issues, or something personal that has happened to you. Let that not come onto your child, right? When you are not able to control your emotions, the child is looking up to you. You are the role model. They observe, they imitate. We have heard all of these things so many times, but how many times we imbibe them, right? Your love for the child has to be unconditional. Whatever you are feeling, it should not come on to your child, right? And a lot of times when I'm feeling really upset, talking to my child actually heals me also. That, look at her, wow. So a lot of times the child is also going to help you. She will also come and ask me, mama, aaj aapke office mein kuch hua tha kya? Because she can read that emotion, that today mama is not what she usually is when she comes back, right? So if I can read my child's emotions, my child is also able to read my emotions. If I don't read her emotions, when is she going to acknowledge mine? So it's It's a bond that you create over time with communication, with listening, when prioritizing their emotions and helping them with negativity as well, right? And if you stay positive, the child is going to be more positive, right? The outlook towards life is going to be positive. Of course, we cannot do much about failures, right? The child is going to face certain negative or bad experiences, and the child might fail at certain things. Everybody's not perfect at everything, right? So the child is doing very well at maths, but may not do very good in Hindi or in extracurricular. So the failures can also be talked about, right? So if the child feels secure with you can tell them. Maybe you can tell them your own story, a failed story that you had, right? The power of narrative is very, very important. You tell them a story, maybe a fairy tale where somebody failed, or your own story of your childhood, to pep them up and give them a little pep talk and motivate them. Maybe we can try again if you really want to. Maybe we should practice at home so that you don't fail in school, or you are able to do much better in school. So these are a little techniques that we can use to improve and help our child. And there is no way that your child is never going to fail, right? But we have to prepare the child with how the child can face the failures, right? That is more important. You cannot navigate कि कभी मेरा बच्चा फेल नहीं होगा, मेरे बच्चे को कभी कोई बैड एक्सपीरियंस नहीं होगा. ऐसा नहीं होने वाला है. They are going to face such things, but you as a parent can help them by making them cope with these things, how to cope with these negative experiences, these negative thoughts or negative emotions. Talking about negative emotions, one of the most talked about thing that parents come and say is that my child is being bullied, right? And a lot of mental problems even later in life and disorders amount back to a childhood bully. So and it can give rise to anxiety and depression. So what can you do? So again, coming back to communication, if you have bonded with your child, the child will come back and speak about it, and you as a parent can help them with lot of things which can help the child. One parent is like, I would want my child to ignore it, right? So tell them that you are not going to behave like them, right? That's a negative thing, that's not nice. You be nice and you ignore. If something is going too bad, you can always tell the child to seek help from an adult. That adult could be Didi in the class, that adult could be the class teacher, that adult could be a senior, that adult could be an elder child who plays in the same play area. So you tell the child, you talk about this, these are the things that you can do, and maybe you can come back and tell me, right? And we can sort it. You can ignore, or you can stay in a group. Instead of being alone, you be with your friends, right? And ignore this one person who's bullying you. So once the child starts to speak to you, open up with you, it will be easier for the child to cope up with negative things. A lot of times जब हम बात कर लेते हैं ना, तो वो बात हम भूल भी जाते हैं. वो बात हमें बहुत ज्यादा इफेक्ट नहीं करती. अगर हम बात किसी से कर नहीं पाते हैं, वो दिमाग में घूमता रहता है. That happens with child also. So if the child is not able to talk about it, वो बच्चा continuously उसी के बारे में सोच रहा है, anxious हो रहा है, stress में आ रहा है. And you as a parent are supposed to identify that change. And when you identify that change, you start a conversation, explain, tell your experience maybe. And then the child will be helped with emotions. And you can always teach the child to be firm. You can always teach your child to be assertive in a respectful manner. कि अगर तुम्हें कोई ऐसा बोल रहा है तो आप उनको ये कह सकते हो आगे से, right? In an assertive manner, respectful manner, right? So that this person doesn't come back to you. And these are little things that everybody knows, but are we going to tell them? And when are we going to tell them? Very often you will hear parents say, मुझे तो पता ही नहीं था उसके साथ ऐसा हो रहा था. That's we are failing as parents if हमें पता नहीं चल रहा है, if we are not able to identify what the child is going through. We need to identify. And we, if you are the absent parent, तुम बैठे हो, फोन में मगन हो, लैपटॉप में मगन हो, और बच्चा कुछ और कर रहा है, आप एब्सेंट पेरेंट हैं। आपको नहीं पता बच्चे की लाइफ में क्या चल रहा है। When you're spending time with your child, you're supposed to, shut down your laptop, put away your mobile phone, and spend time with the child. And that is going to help. Another negative experience that I've often seen is, change of any kind of change makes children stressful, right? Unko, I remember last year when my child was, getting promoted to the next class. So she had this anxiety about that this class teacher, my nursery class teacher, अब नहीं होगी, मुझे तो रमन मैम से पढ़ना है, and all of that she said. And she was really stressed about कि मेरा नया टीचर in KG कैसा होगा, कौन है मम्मा, वो कौन सी मैम है, उनका क्या नाम है. And she was, because she was continuously asking me these questions, I understood that this change is not something that she was looking forward to. Leaving behind friends, leaving behind a class teacher, leaving behind a place, maybe if you are switching your jobs or something, you need to encourage the child to speak their feelings. You have to prepare the child for that change. थोड़ा थोड़ा उनको बताना शुरू कर दो. So this year what has happened that अभी से I'm telling her कि आप केजी से फर्स्ट में जाने वाले हो, आपके टीचर चेंज हो जाएंगे, बट आपके फ्रेंड्स रहेंगे, आपके क्लासमेट्स वही रहेंगे, आपके सारे फ्रेंड्स आपके साथ रहेंगे, लेकिन आपकी जो क्लास टीचर है वो चेंज हो जाएंगे. From my past last year's experience, I learned this, that my child is going to be anxious of change. This little change कि क्लास टीचर चेंज होगा. How small is that? But identify किया, अभी से उसके ऊपर काम करना शुरू कर दिया. 1 महीने भर में उसको यही बोलने वाली हूँ, तुम्हारा क्लास टीचर चेंज होने वाला है. So that when the change comes, she is fully mentally, emotionally prepared for that change. Right? So because she was able to speak about her feelings, I was able to help my child. And motivate the child to look at the positives. जैसे मैंने उसे कहा कि आपके जो फ्रेंड्स हैं वो रहेंगे आपकी क्लास में, आपके क्लासमेट्स चेंज नहीं होंगे, सिर्फ क्लास टीचर चेंज होगा. तो वो पॉजिटिव्स की तरफ उसका ध्यान ज्यादा हो गया कि अच्छा मेरे साथ मेरी फ्रेंड रहेगी, मैं उसी के साथ बैठूंगी. So all of that thing, helps the child. And a lot of times your old routine also helps. So any kind of change, you have to prepare the child about that change. Helping kids, they will feel loved, safe, and they would feel that they're cared for. And that is when they will open up. That is when they will acknowledge their own feelings, and negativity would be reduced. When they speak up, negativity will be reduced. When you help the child, when you listen to them, the negativity will go back. They can concentrate on now. And again, talking about meditation and other coping skills like calm breathing, or we all know about it, read a book, paint, color, go for a walk, sit in the nature. All of these things, which might look very mundane, very common everyday things, but they help. So you have to tell your child that this is the time for play, this is the time when we talk, this is the time when you have that routine. It will help for you also to understand that how is the child feeling, how is the child doing in school. And a lot of times I've seen that direct questions to the child, you don't get answers. If they are back from the school and you ask, how was your school? Theek tha. That is a one line answer. So instead, when you bond with the child, that is the time when she will tell you, mama class mein aisa hua tha, purani baat hai. Right? So that purani baat only comes out when you are spending time with the child, when you are making them feel that this is my secure and safe place. So in that thing only, the child will be able to handle the negative experiences and negative emotions. I would like to take up some questions.
Amazing. Thank you so much for shedding light on this topic so beautifully, starting off with connections and how it's important to cope up with feelings. Also, to add to that, I've seen a lot of times that, when children, they tend to cry a lot, right? When they lose, when they have a negative experience. And one of the worst things we can do as parents is to invalidate their feeling, that stop crying, don't cry, what's the point? Like you said, it's a big thing for them. We cannot demean their gravity of that situation for them to nothingness. And what has worked for me is in my experiences is when the child cries a lot, rather than invalidating that feeling, telling them that I understand it's hard, right? But you can cry it out. It's okay. I'm here for you, and letting them just vent that out, that feeling. Secondly, telling them that it's hard. If you want to say something, I'm your safe space. I'm here for you. I think that also lets them self-regulate, just knowing that my mom understands and she's
Yes.
there for me if anything happens. And I think the third thing that I've really loved to see is to help them recognize their own feelings. That, okay, I understand you're upset, or I understand you feel that it's unfair that your team lost. So I understand that you're feeling, jealous, or you're feeling, belittled, right?
Yeah.
Understand that, and I know it's hard. And then maybe instead of trying to explain too much, कि ऐसा नहीं, life में ऐसे होता है, trying to just pause and let the child speak up and then talk about what could be ways that you could deal with, what would you like to do, or what would make you feel better, or how could you try to avoid the situation next time. Children come up with their own answers. If you just let them pause, process, validate their feeling, I think that really, really helps. So thank you so much. It's been a wonderful session. Parents, if you have any questions, we'll take them up now. You can put them in the chat here. You can unmute or ask, or you can not. If you want to ask it anonymously, you can send it to me as a direct message here, and I'll take it up.
I also wanted to add, when you said crying, a lot of times we do not validate crying at all, right? And I hear parents saying, "Kyun ro rahe ho? Kyun ro rahe ho?" Continuously to the child. So the child may not know that, why he or she is crying. So are they feeling sad? Are they feeling upset? Sometimes in anger also children cry because they don't know what to do. Right. So recognizing their feelings and emotions is extremely important. And instead of, asking them questions when they're crying, just give them a hug, right? So that they know that they're secure. And you will definitely see the child starts to speak immediately when you hug the child and, pat their backs and like, okay, no problem. We'll see what can be done. And then suddenly they will start telling you the whole thing, whatever have they happened and whatever they felt. And then you can help.
Absolutely.
Right? That's the time when you can actually help the child.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And children need explanations. They need explanation that, and you, as I said, that, telling them a story really helps in such situations when they are feeling really sad and upset. You tell them a funny story, you tell them your own experience about something, you tell them, acha, dadi aisa karti thi, that, nani aisa karti.
That is the whole thing, that it's,
yeah,
it happens with everybody. And,
yes,
and if we could do it, maybe our stories tell us that if we could do it, even you will, you will see how to deal with it. And, I think one more thing that really has worked well and that I've observed with a lot of children as an educator, sometimes, they don't understand what they're feeling, like what is the exact emotion. And second, most importantly, is articulation.
Yes.
They're not able to articulate that feeling, or how. So, like we tell them, be assertive, or you can be firm. Yeah, aap jaake bolna chahiye tha. Now, how do I do that? I don't know it as a child, how to articulate that feeling perfectly. So if we as parents, as educators, help them articulate that, okay, next time this happens, maybe you could say something like this.
Yes.
How would you like to say it? So when we articulate and give them a framework, I think they really understand, okay, this is how
Then
I could have expressed myself better.
yes. So you give them that secure, safe place where they feel that, I can open up and, tell everything. And then recognizing and identifying emotions, feelings will help them, all through their lives. It will help them in every situation that's in future.
Absolutely.
So that's really important. And you cannot do anything about failures. Child is going to fail at so many things, right? You know that your child is not going to be good in cricket and good in football as well. So the child, you should make them understand that you have to be focusing on maybe this one, and don't fret on that. But how? So until you let them speak and you listen to them, only then that would happen. Listening is really important, I feel, with the child.
Yes.
Communication equals to listening. You just listen to them.
Yeah. If you observe and listen enough, I think we get, as parents, we're empowered of where we can and how we can help our kids, or what are the kind of patterns that trigger certain kind of emotions or reactions in them. That's so powerful.
A lot of times mothers would say, मुझे पता चल जाता है वो कैसा feel कर रहा है, because you are spending so much time with the child, maybe. Or if there is a father who is spending a lot of time with the child, the father is able to identify कि उसको ये चाहिए. वो identification आपको कैसे हो रही है? Because you're spending time, right? So you spend time, you will be able to recognize the child's feelings and emotions, and slowly the child will also recognize it.
Yes.
For you and for themselves as well.
When we help them label and understand that emotion, I think they also recognize and find pathways of how to deal with.
Yes.
Okay, we have one question that's come up which says, whenever something is wrong in a game, my child will just accept it quietly. How do I deal with that? Whenever my child or something happens in a game, so the exact wording is, if something happens in the classroom or in any game, my child just accepts it. She feels bad, but she accepts, what is happening with others.
Oh,
like for example, what if I'm trying to understand what she's asking is that they become submissive, right? So even if they're feeling bad, they allow them to be felt bad, or they'll just be shy, they won't open up, right? So
I think a lot of times, we as parents, we tell them that, you shouldn't behave like this. You shouldn't, if you're feeling bad, you shouldn't cry. You're feeling bad, you shouldn't shout. Why are you shouting? If you're feeling bad, so you shouldn't throw away things, right? So we stop them. And then, or maybe we also don't do that. We do not recognize our own emotions, and we are the role models, and child also starts to behave in that manner, right? So maybe talking to this child will help, right? And you also need to understand that acceptance is in positive, or this acceptance is in negative. Because ऐसा नहीं होना चाहिए that he or she is piling up on that negative experience and accepting it, but then ekdam se fir there is a blast of emotions. So that also shouldn't happen. So if the child is submissive and you want this child to be assertive, then you have to talk to them, right? And ask, how do you feel? Would you like to win? Or, something of that sort, a conversation starter. And then, build that conversation on it and try understanding that why, he or she doesn't feel, or, do something about it. There are children who are very, very expressive, and there are children who do not like to express, maybe because they see that nobody is expressing themselves. So you being the role model, you will also have to start expressing yourself. Talking about that, a lot of times, my daughter will say, दादू ने दादी का हाथ क्यों पकड़ा है while walking? So, ये दोनों old है ना इसलिए. So they will assume if you don't tell them, right? So वो खुद से मन में सोच के कि दादू दादी old है, so which is why they're holding hands कि वो गिर नहीं जाए. So they will assume on their own. So rather, when they tell you something of that sort, don't laugh it off. Tell them they are, they are partners, they are friends, whatever you want, according to the age that they are in. So my daughter is 5, so I tell her that Dadu Dadi are very good friends, they are best of friends. So they hold hands and walk. And she said, I also walk with my friend by holding hands. So they're able to relate.
Yeah.
So, according to the age group, you can give them answers so that they are able to accept certain experiences and do not go negative about it, or, assume things. A lot of time children assume things. Unko jo samajh mein aata hai, they think that, okay, this is happening because of that.
True, that's so important, because these assumptions can be right or wrong, and we don't know how the imprint is being made.
Yeah, that is also one of the issues, right? So we have to be very, very careful that what is the child thinking, and what kind of emotion or feelings he or she has towards certain things that are going around.
Okay, we have a next question, which says that my son is having phobia for water. He's really afraid of swimming. So how to encourage him to learn?
Okay, I would first ask a little question. Do you swim? The parent. So, and I would also suggest
No,
not to.
ma'am.
You don't.
No,
So,
ma'am.
Nikita, what happens is when the child, doesn't see you doing that, he or she may not be comfortable doing it herself or himself, right? So if I don't drink water, my child is not going to drink water. If I keep on drinking water, the child is going to pani to pina zaruri hai, right? So sometimes because children don't see their parents doing certain thing, they don't like doing it. And I understand the phobia might be there. So you give the child some time. Don't force at this point of time. Okay, don't force. And maybe, with time that phobia might go away. I wouldn't suggest anything very, strong or something, but you may just talk to this child about, tell them some stories, or, talk about water a lot, ताकि उसका phobia थोड़ा कम हो. And maybe if you or your husband swims, you can go along, and then the child will be more comfortable swimming.
Okay, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Perfect.
Until
Question?
yes.
Okay, I think a lot of the questions have been answered in the due course of your presentation.
Yeah.
I'm sure a lot of them have gained insight in terms of validating children's feelings, talking about it, role modeling it, and of course, I beautifully like
Building the connection.
Yes, building the connection, and I beautifully like about communication as a tool for avoiding not just the bonding, but avoiding misinterpretations, assumptions that happen within things. I think communication is one of the clear pathways in helping them to identify their emotions, articulating their feelings, and helping them articulate further how they could react and respond to those. Thank you so much, Sonam. It was a wonderful session today.
Thank you so much
We've
for having me.
From your insights. I'm sure it's going to help a lot of parents, because this is an everyday scenario that not just our children, but we also at an individual level deal with in some capacity. And trying to recognize that with our children and ourselves can make us so much more calmer, so much more positive, and so much more confident about the pursuits we set ourselves to accomplish. So on that note, thank you so much once again for joining us. And for people who want to look up and find some of our other insights and videos, can definitely check her out on Instagram and other platforms. And I'll see you tomorrow, but tomorrow's time is again back to our 3 p.m. for another wonderful session on the Learning Conclave. The recordings of this is also available live on our YouTube channel, the IntelligencePlus. So in case you want to share it with your friends and family members, that'll be wonderful. So thank you so much once again, Sonam. It was a delight to have you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.